Krown Produce secures produce locally and from around the world for Canadian retailers. Krown Produce is also proud to secure sponsorship of university football on Shaw. Krown Produce, supporting Canadian retailers and Canadian amateur football.
The ponies corralled in Cowtown. Laval romps in the sack. And the Vanier is set. Krown Countdown U starts counting down now.
Hey everybody, welcome to Krown Countdown U. I'm Ryan Sullivan. That is Andrew Wadden. It's national semifinal time. We got the Mitchell Bowl, we got the Uteck Bowl, and I see someone is coming onto the purple regime.
I did wear my purple tie for the Western Mustangs this week, and I will start with the Mitchell Bowl. Calgary, Western, two undefeated teams going head-to-head. However, not many people giving the Calgary Dinos their due respect. Many people saying this was the Western Mustangs game to lose. However, one man had the hindsight to say that Western, well, they might be a little awkward on the snow. His name, Jim Mullin. Is he the second coming of Nostradamus? Let's find out.
Calgary hosting its third Mitchell Bowl in 4 years. The snow was on the ground in Cowtown. This Western fan wearing the appropriate attire for the frigid weather. Super sophomore Will Finch, seen here in an awkward stretching pose. Kind of a weird time to be filming it, don't you think? Facing off against another super soft and childhood friend, Canada West Offensive Player of the Year, Mercer, Don't Call Me Dr. Goal Line, Timmis. Apparently he hates the nickname. Who knew? Many people wondered how Western would fare in the snow, and we found out early. Matt Uren can't handle the slippery biscuit. The Dinos pounce on the leather. That led to a Calgary three-banger, and the Dinos are the first to get on the board. A few minutes later, they add to that total deep in Western territory. Andrew Buckley goes far side for Brett Blasco, breaks a couple of tackles and takes it in for the major. Dinos go up a 10 spot. Western's next series, they're forced to punt, and it turns ugly for the Purple Ponies.
High up and from his own 29, here's Simonized. Simonized, gone! Huge block, and the Calgary Dinos get another huge play. This one, 80 yards for the touchdown.
Thanks to Sportsnet U's Tim McCalla for the call. Rashawn Simonized goes 80 yards for the punt return. Calgary shocking the nation, taking a 17-0 lead over the #1 ranked team in the CIS. Everything was working in the Dinos' favor on this day. Western trying for a field goal, and it gets blocked by the Dinos. Not only was Calgary's special teams giving the Stangs the business, the defense was all over Finch in the first half, getting a lick on the star pivot at every opportunity, and it was clearly affecting Finch's game. Right before the half, he tries to go over the middle, he gets blocked by Tanner Dahl. Finch would also take another shot on the play. He's clearly not right, gets carried off the field, looking like his day would be over. Second half, and Western backup pivot Blake Huggins starts to get warm, but it's Finch who comes out under center, and it doesn't bode well for him. Dr. Kasema, yes, his name is Doctor. We've been over this, people. Takes Finch out. He's in obvious pain and will be done for the day. Fourth cue now, Huggins in for Finch. Western down 24, so on 3rd and 10, they go for it on their own 41-yard line. No, sir, that's a TOD. So first play of the drive for Calgary. They hand it off to the big red truck. Mercer Timmis takes it 41 yards all the way to Moneyland. Timmis puts the game out of reach, but the Dinos weren't done yet. To add insult to injury, Huggins gets plucked by Brad Friesen, who then has Dr. Kasama snatch the ball out of his hands. The good doctor takes it 71 yards for the pick six. That was the salt in the Western wound. Calgary takes the Mitchell Bowl, stunning the Mustangs with a 44-3 shellacking. Timmis was named the game's MVP, rushing for 139 yards on 16 carries, scoring the one major. Buckley with a solid game, connecting on 18 of 27 passes for 211 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 picks. The Calgary defense and special teams were a major force in this one, forcing 8 turnovers in the game. And it was a rough one for Finch, 9 of 20 passing with the 1 INT. His understudy Huggins didn't fare very well either, connecting on just 1 of 11 attempts, while also throwing 1 pick. So Calgary punches its ticket to the Vanier for the first time since 2010, but just who will they be facing?
Let's go out to the Maritimes now. Western! Damn you! Let's go out to the Maritimes now. There's another football game going on. It's a bowl game. It's a championship game. Out to Sackville, New Brunswick, we go for the Uteck Bowl. Macaulay Field is the setting. It's the first ever bowl game played at Mac Field, and tons of extra seating was added in the process. In fact, the entire town has a population of 5,400. 63% of the town was at this game. A sold-out capacity crowd of just over 3,500 in attendance for Laval and Mount Allison. Laval's first drive of the game, well, it went according to plan. Alex Skinner hits Julian Bailey early on for a solid pickup. He then looks to the sideline for Yannick Morin-Plante, and then the Rouge et Or possession is capped off by their leader on the ground, Pascal Lochard. He had himself a pretty decent day. Laval keeps it coming a few possessions later. It looks like a replay, but it's not. Lochard from 2 yards out this time scampers it in with ease. It's 14 blank for the red and gold guys. Skinner then looks and finds Guillaume Reyou over the middle. Put that one on the board. Laval goes up 21 blank after 15 minutes. That's how many minutes are in a quarter. Brandon Lay then says it's go time, and he finds Troy Trentham in the end zone. A great laying it out there, grab by T-Bone. They were absolutely loving it in Sackville. It's the loudest the town has been since the first public wharf was opened in 1841, and I think we all remember how that turned out. Mount A is on the board, and some of the nicest buckets in football are now trailing by just 2 scores. Maxime Boutin turns it on right after that, though, taking this one 33 yards down to the outside. It would set up another major for, well, who else? Pascal Lochard. It's his 3rd touchdown of the day and of the half. It's 28-7, red and gold. Lochard not done there. He takes this rock for a ride, shaking off a tackle, turning it into a rumble in the Bronx. All the way to the house. Uh-oh, we have a flag down. That's a holding call on Laval. It's coming back. No touchdown. So Alex Skinner says, all right, well, I'm going to go to last year's Vanier MVP instead. A little screen to Max Boutin, and see you later. 80 yards all the way to the end zone. Laval goes up 37-7, and a calm hush collapses over the town of Sackville, New Brunswick. Trouble then strikes for Laval. Pascal Lochard takes a little run to the left. He loses the football. The fumble, not the problem, though. It's Lochard's knee that's the problem. It decides not to join him on his way down. He would leave the game. He would be wincing in pain. He would not return for the Rouge et Or. Tough break. Brandon Lay, though, shows off his arm. He hits Trentham way upfield. The ball in the air for about 48 yards of this transaction. Mount A knocking again. Lay then finds Stu Moore over the middle. Put that one on the board. Don't worry about the fumble. That's a touchdown. Count it. Mounties still in this one. Right when they think the momentum is on their side, though, something like this happens. Guillaume Reyou on the punt return finds a little bit better luck on the other sideline, so he heads over. He is gone. 57-yard punt return for the major. Laval up 44-14 in the final Q. A few series later for Laval, Skinner looks to keep it going on the ground, but the ball pops out. It's Mountie Pigskin. The crowd, they're liking that. Very next play, Brandon Lay looks to the end zone, and in true Golden Tate style, Josh Blanchard comes down with a Laval defender and the ball. That's a touchdown. The most recent winner of the Joey's Pizza and Pass to Mount A Male Athlete of the Week, Josh Blanchard, has got his team another major. Sadly, though, the sun would set on the Mount A fairy tale. That is all she wrote. Big question in the end, though, the status of Pascal Lachard heading into the final game of the CIS schedule. His status currently listed as questionable with a knee injury. Laval wins this one 48-21. They take the Uteck, and they're moving on to their 4th straight Vanier Cup. Brandon Lay, a solid game in the losing effort for the Mount A Mounties. 22 of 36 for 260 yards and 3 majors. The ground game was the story for Laval, though. 313 total rushing yards, along with 3 majors from the dirt. So it will be the Calgary Dinos and Laval Rouge et Or in the 49th annual edition of the Vanier Cup from Quebec. It is only the 4th time in the history of the championship game that 2 undefeated squads will go head-to-head, and it all goes down this Saturday, November the 23rd.
Starting Thursday, go by our YouTube page, Jim Mullin CIS, for nightly Krown Countdown U updates from the Vanier Cup in Quebec City. Jim, make sure you bundle up for it, buddy. It's going to be cold. Ah, there you go, big guy. That's better.
You may remember last episode I was wearing a Queen's bucket because I lost a bet. This time, Andrew lost a bet, and I know it doesn't even look like he's wearing a helmet, but he is.
Where's the Andy Dalton comments? Come on, I know they're coming.
That's a compliment. Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle. You just look like an idiot.
I look better than you.
Well, that's true. I can't argue with that.
He ain't scoring at the Roxy tonight, is he?
That's none of your business.
Don't even think he's of age to get in there, to be honest with you.
Fake ID, baby. Coming up next, we're handing out some awards, and then we got the Roundtable. The award for biggest idiots, right next door. You're watching Krown Countdown U. Stay tuned.
Whether it's your first home, a refinance, or an investment property, Kia Grant & Associates can find a mortgage solution for you. In association with Verico Paragon, the work she does for you is free. Find her on Facebook at Kia Grant Mortgages. Now it's time for the Football Reporters of Canada, Canada West All-Stars and Award winners, brought to you by Kia Grant & Associates.
Best Entrance Award. And the nominees are Saskatchewan Huskies, Pyro Dogs.
This introduction has more firepower than all 8 CFL intros combined. I'm serious. It blows up real good.
The Western Mustangs, Western Walk.
Quiet swagger at home for all games in their undefeated season. Yes, we know of the quiet stagger at the end of this year, but still loads of confidence in this classy rollout.
The Laval Rouge et Or, Red Flag Run.
Big crowds, big record, big championship, big team with a big red flag. And they get a big reaction thanks to some big consumption that starts at the big tailgate at 7 a.m.
And the winner is the Saskatchewan Huskies. Best new uniforms. And the nominees are the Carleton Ravens, back in black.
Not the top of the pecking order in year one, but certainly well-dressed in the bird buckets. This year's Ravens spent $30K to come to the party with looks that kill.
The Mount Allison Mounties, Mount A Flame.
Simple, direct, clean. The alternate lids with the flame were ready for game. A little school with a big, big look.
The Saskatchewan Huskies, Sasky Retro.
The 1914 throwbacks were the best threads on the Flatlands in 2013. At a time when the pack is going video game with their new looks, the S stands for Super.
And the winner is It's a tie between the Carleton Ravens and the Saskatchewan Huskies. Best fans. And the nominees are the Queen's Gales.
I want to own the Balmoral Hat Concession in Kingston. It's a century plus of football where Ukrainian and Southeast Asian students can become a foul-mouthed Canadian Scotsman for a day.
The Laval Rouge et Or.
Day-long tailgates that get giant crowds for this country, probably bigger than the Grey Cup-bound Hamilton Tiger Cats. So they're spoiled. So what? They show up. How do you say represent in French?
The Western Mustangs.
Where else in Canada would a cheer team get fined $141 for agitating their fans into a frenzy? In most red states, that behavior is actually a college credit.
And the winner is the Laval Rouge et Or. Best Sideline Sideshow. And the nominees are Blake Nill from the Calgary Dinos, the Enforcer.
Hulk Nill get angry. Hulk Nill throw player. Hulk Nill take out trash.
Brian Doby from the Manitoba Bisons, out of time.
Friendly Manitoba's Doby is irate at a clock running out, but he's still polite enough not to smash the headset.
Blake Nill from the Calgary Dinos, the Enforcer.
Hulk Nill still angry. Hulk Nill hates Stripe Man. Hulk Nill, Hulk Hulk.
And the winner is, in a unanimous decision, Blake Nill from the Calgary Dinos. Best Touchdown Celebration. And the nominees are Rashawn Simonides from the Calgary Dinos, the Elaine from Seinfeld.
Given all the belly bumps and Superman poses, it's nice to see where the funk is in Rashawn Simonides' funky chicken.
Alex Carroll from the Queen's Gales, Psycho on the Loose.
Upon further review, Alex Carroll goes psycho in a TD ruling for Queens. His screech could be heard like a John Bon Jovi high note all the way to New Jersey.
Nick Dembski from the Manitoba Bisons, In Flight Magazine.
For Nick Dembski, it's not turning the page, it's rifling through the magazine. Look, it's a prop without bringing a prop onto the field. Simply brilliant.
And the winner is Nick Dembski from the Manitoba Bisons. Congratulations to all our winners, and we'll see you on the field next year. Legendary punk band DOA have a brand new studio album out now. We Come in Peace. There's also a brand new live album by DOA. Welcome to Chinatown, DOA Live. Get them at suddendeath.com.
Part of the sound of Krown Countdown U is provided by The Real Mackenzies. The new album, West Winds, featuring My Luck Is So Bad, is available on iTunes.
Hey, welcome back to Krown Countdown U. It's time again for the Roundtable. We welcome back in Jim Mullin. We've got Billy Greene and another Hec Crighton winner on the board today. Live via Skype, Krown Countdown, Game of the Week, Color Man, Jesse Lumsden. Welcome to the show, Jesse.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, thanks for being here. We're going to start things out with opening kickoff. Your headlines from around the CIS. We're going to Jim Mullin.
Or the story that you should know. And I think the story behind the Vanier Cup as we go into Quebec City is the close friendship between Glenn Constantin and Blake Nill. These guys are on the phone to each other a couple of times a week, all the way through the off-season. They consult on players, they consult on game plans. These guys are joined at the hip even though they're on different sides of the country. So this is a meeting of two friends when the University of Calgary and the Laval Rouge et Or kicked things off Saturday in Quebec City.
I like it. Billy Greene.
Over the last few years, it's been well documented that the University of Calgary Dinos don't show up in big games. This past weekend, we saw them really come out and hand it to the Western Mustangs. Andrew Buckley played very well, managed the game. I think over the next few years, we're going to see this guy get this team back to the Vanier a couple more times.
Billy Greene pulling a Dennis Green. They are who they thought they were. That's not the line at all. I butchered that one. Anyways, we're going out to Jesse next.
Well, I'm going to have to go with not only what we saw this year, but leading into the future of the backfield and the O-line of the Calgary Dinos, led up by Mercer Timmis. And I mean, we saw Mercer, known as you guys nicknamed Dr. Goal Line. I'd like to change that, by the way, to something else. It's a terrible nickname. I don't think he likes it either. Anyway,
not happening.
We saw a sophomore running back and a very young O-line dominate Canada West, score a ton of touchdowns, 19 for Mercer on the season, which is a Canada West record, over 1,100 rushing yards, and then face what we thought was going to be the toughest opponent of the year with a very, very strong defensive front from the Western Mustangs, and they ran through them like Swiss cheese. And they not only did that, but they beat them up physically. This kid, this O-line, this group is going to shatter all rushing records, touchdown records in the next few years.
There you go. They are who we thought they were. That's the line.
Hey, two things. Big red truck for Mercer Timmis. That's one of them. So we get to pitch the Dr. Goal Line out. And Steve Barato deserves honorable mention with that offensive line and that blocking scheme. Former CFL head coach that's responsible for the offensive line and is responsible for that rushing attack.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to add something else to it in terms of the mention of Steve Barato is that the gameplay that the plan that they chose with against Western was a lot of zone, a lot of stretch. Don't allow those big boys to come up the middle, which they executed perfectly. They ran stretch, and from that stretch play where you get the whole O-line moving, opening gaps up, Mercer has the opportunity to go through an A gap all the way out to an outside stretch zone.
There you go. Jim Mullin, we'll go right back to you to start with objectionable conduct.
Well, it's too bad that there weren't a lot of people in Calgary watching some of that stretch play, that they weren't there watching some of those amazing special teams. Once again, Calgary's attendance at major games, be it the Hardy Cup, be it a bowl game, was just downright depressing to tune into. I had a number of friends from Eastern Canada that were sending me texts going, "Where is the crowd?" Now, I know that people at the University of Calgary have done their best with the resources that they have to try to attract a crowd. And I know there's pro teams in the city, but there are still a number of things that they can do that they have chosen not to do in terms of creating a place that is friendly for students, that has a good atmosphere. They don't go in and manage the event. They get one crowd at the start of the year, and then the numbers just drop right back down to 1,200. So my objectionable conduct goes out to the University of Calgary and their alumni who have decided not to take control of what goes on in the stands there.
Yeah, and to add to that, I was watching the Calgary Western game on the weekend. My friend comes into the room and he looks at the TV and says, "Where's all the people?" This is the first CIS game he's ever watched. He says, "Where's all the people?" Is this what happens at CIS games? So for a first-time viewer to be exposed to that, it doesn't look good for your product. It doesn't look good for your game. We're going to move on to Billy Greene.
My objectionable conduct this past weekend is the Western Mustangs product that they put on the field. A team that ran through the OUA this year, setting the world on fire. We all thought that they were going to go out and show University of Calgary what they were about. They didn't do that, unfortunately. Still a young team. Will Finch is going to be back in that situation going forward. For him, he has to get that team back to being motivated. They need to realize that they aren't going to walk over every team that they see outside the conference, and I hope they put some work in this offseason and come back with a better product next year.
And that's exactly it. It's still a very young team, still lots of time. The light at the end of the tunnel still very bright for them. Out to you, Jesse.
My objectionable conduct is going towards Western as well, and it is their special teams. It was absolutely horrendous. It's 1/3 of the game, boys. You need to get that stuff dialed in. It's playoffs, and you need to get your stuff in check. Almost pardon my language, but having fake field or fake punt done by the punter on his own, a punt return for a touchdown, a blocked field goal. It was one aspect of many that Western fell on big time.
There you go. Another objectionable conduct. No bow tie on you today, Jesse. Yeah, I'm throwing the flag down on that one. Come on. What is this, amateur hour? Unbelievable. Now, we usually wrap things up with Game of the Week, but I feel like that's a pretty easy question for everybody. So a quick game preview, the Vanier Cup. We're going to start things out with Jesse Lumsden.
In terms of what I think each team needs to do to win this game, Calgary needs to come out and do exactly what they did to Western. They need to play physical football. They laid lumber to any purple and white jersey that they saw. They played way above their age in terms of their physical presence on the field, and that'll be so important for those young guys to go out and do against Laval, which is a more veteran team, a much stronger team than we saw against Western, and they're going to need to do it for the entire 60 minutes. That's going to give them their best chance to coming out Vanier Cup champs. In terms of Laval, they need to play what they They need to do what they do. They need to play the game that they play. They have a very balanced attack on offense. Unfortunately, it looks like their leading rusher is going to be out for the game, but they can fall back on 3 other running backs. They had 4 on their depth chart for the Uteck Bowl. So they need to go out. Glenn Constantine will get those guys prepared as they have all season. They faced tough opponents, facing Montreal a couple of times, and they just need to stick to their game plan.
Billy Greene?
I think Andrew Buckley is the key to this game. Kids showed us all year that he can play. He came in this year, wasn't the starter. It took an injury to Eric Zaleski for him to see the field. I think he is the key to this team. If he goes out, plays a good game, he's going to give them more of a chance. For Laval, they have to do what they do all year, stop the run. Mercer Timmis is a great compliment to Andrew Buckley. If they can do that, they're going to put the ball into Buckley's hands, and he has to show us what he's done all year. He can win games. I think it's going to be a very close one.
Yeah, sky's the limit. And, I mean, Jesse touched on it with the question mark hanging over Pascal Lachard. What's it looking like for Laval?
Well, I think this comes down to 4 players, 3 on the Calgary side and 1 on the Laval side. I think Laval will be their competent selves on offense. As Jesse mentioned, they're very deep at running back. I think special teams is going to be very, very key for Laval. And Guillaume Rioux, the kid that was born in France but was raised in Quebec, has been a killer for them on special teams returns. He came up with an early one against Mount A to quiet down that crowd at Sackville, and he's done that throughout the course of the year. As for the Calgary Dinos, comes down to 3 receivers on the inside. Comes down to Chris Dobko, Jake Hardy, and Brett Blasco, because the one thing that we have seen out of that Laval defense is that they can be kind of soft at halfback. You can catch footballs underneath them, and that's the one thing that got Calgary throughout all the way through the playoffs this year, is that nickel and diming up the field. The one thing that saved Laval on defense is how tough they are in the red zone. So the red zone defense, very important for Laval, but those inside receivers for Calgary could be the difference. And you know what? All 3 of those guys that I mentioned, they all know how to catch the ball in inclement weather as well.
You forgot one of our award nominees, Mr. Simonize, as well.
Well, he's the guy on the outside, and he's the guy on special teams. I think the inside receivers are actually the guys that are going to make the difference if they're going to move the chains down the field.
Perfect. All right, Jesse, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Anytime. That does it for all of us here at Krown Countdown U. For Jim Mullin, Billy Greene, of course, Jesse Lumsden, I'm Ryan Sullivan. Thanks again for joining us.